Hi friends, welcome to day 6 of our Easter stitch along. Today we are going to be working on our leaves. There are 4 sections that we are going to be working on: here, 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 and this larger one down here. We're going to be using 2 colors, 3362 and 3022. So let's get stitching. All right, so I have my color 3362 on my needle, 4 strands, and we're going to start stitching. We're going to start using a fishbone stitch right here on our leaves, and then we'll move to a back split stitch after that. But first, let me show you the fishbone stitch. You're going to start by coming up at the tip of one of your leaves and pulling your needle all the way through. And then coming down about more of a half. I was about to say a fourth, but about a half. This kind of is a little dependent on how you like your leaves. The longer you make this first stitch, the more elongated the leaf looks. The shorter you make this first stitch, the shorter and stubbier, and I mean that not in a negative way, then the leaf will look. So I'm gonna go right about here, which I guess is about halfway. And I'm going to go right in the middle, and I'm going to bring my needle back down. All right, so now I'm going to go to the left of that first stitch, following on this line right here of the leaf. I'm going to come down just a little bit. And you do want to make sure that you're coming down enough that it leaves a nice tip on this fishbone stitch, so that your leaves don't look too rounded. So I'm going to come down onto my trace line and pull this all the way through. And then I'm going to go down right at this middle stitch, right below that initial stitch right there. And I'm going to do the same thing, but on the right side. Make sure you come down enough from that first initial stitch so that you keep that nice point. Pull your needle all the way through. And then go right below that middle stitch. And you're just going to keep doing this left, right, until you fill in the whole leaf. Now I will say sometimes as you get closer to the bottom of the leaf, you might have to do 2 stitches on the left instead of doing left, right. It just kind of depends on the leaf shape and your stitching. And as I'm coming down, I'm just following that pattern or that tracing of the leaf. Now as you get closer to the end, you just want to keep an eye out for which stitch is going to be your last, so that you're not continuing this too far. So it looks like I still need maybe one more on the right. Possibly one more on the left. I kind of have to wait and see what this stitch right here does and how it makes the shape look. And you can always, if you feel like it isn't a rounded enough leaf look, you can add an extra stitch even if your tracing isn't there. so I'm happy with how this right side looks. I just think, no, I was going to possibly add one more stitch on the left, but I don't think I'm going to. All right, so now I'm not going to tie off because I'm just going right here to this next little leaf. In my mind, it just doesn't matter as much to tie off. You can though, if you would like to. So I'm going to do the same thing. Make sure I make a nice little tip at the top of that leaf. Come about halfway. And I think I almost always start on the left, but then if you wanted to start on the right, you definitely could. And because the size of these leaves are a little bit different, some of them, like different from one another, some of the stitches might take you a little bit longer, like this one, which is a little bit bigger, and some are going to be shorter or not take as long or as many stitches. My words are in there somewhere. And you'll even see, we're not doing these leaves that are attached to flowers today, but you'll see when we get over there that some of these fishbone leaves only take 3, sometimes 4 or 5 stitches, and then you're done. Just because they're so tiny, the little leaves are. And if you get to a point where you feel like you can't actually make a stitch below that center line, you can share that bottom hole. So for example, when I make this next stitch, I don't quite have enough room to go below what that center line was, so I'm just going to go right into that same hole that the previous stitch made. And I think I might do that one more time on this side as well. I see a little bit of my tracing right at the bottom. There, this is going to yep. All right, so now I'm going to move to this leaf. All right, so I have those 3 leaves done. Next, we're going to switch our colors and do a back split stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this and tie it off. All right, so I have my color 3022. I have 3 strands, and now we're going to do that back split stitch. So I prefer to start at the bottom of the stem. And this is the same stitch, just to remind you of what we did here with our banner. Stitch, 1 stitch, and then I'll come do a back split into it. And this is a pretty short stem, so I'm only going to come right to about under the top leaf. It's there in the middle of it. I don't want to get there yet. I'm going to bring this down and split the previous stitch. And then I like to use this color to add a little bit of detail in the leaf, so I will come up right in the middle of that leaf, kind of above where that very first stitch was. And I will connect it to my other back split stitch. So I'm just going to split that previous stitch I just made and knot it in the back. So I'm splitting the second stitch I had made. Okay, now for these leaves, there's no stem actually leading into them, so you're just going to go directly into the middle of the leaf. And bring that stitch right into what was probably about the first stitch you made. So you're splitting it, but you're kind of coming from a different direction. And the same with this leaf here on the left. right, so now I'm going to tie that off. I'm going to go ahead and complete the leaves up here, over here, and down here. I'm probably only going to do one, maybe two of these sections in the rest of this video so that we can just keep it nice and short. You are welcome to work by color, so if you prefer just to do all the dark green leaves first and then come back with 3022 and do all the stems, you can. If it helps you to feel like you've completed more by doing one whole section at a time, you can do that too. It doesn't really matter, completely up to what your preference is. So keep on watching. You can watch this sped up, or you can use the timestamp below to just go ahead and cut to the end so that I can talk about what we'll be doing tomorrow. All right, friends, that is where I'm going to stop today. Go ahead on your own time, finish up this leaf down here and the leaf at the top, and then we will come back tomorrow and start working on some of our flowers. See you tomorrow.